not only just finance. We need the guarantees from the developers. And the guarantees from the developers are becoming very scarce. They cannot provide it. However, we have found out that a lot of them are willing to go into this process because we secured at least 10 or 15 or 20 years of operation. For a company like us, a public listed company, it's important for us to have the long-term contracts and commitments.
So you put in the infrastructure and plant from the beginning, or
Yes.
is it all enough? So this is a BOT type project, or
Just design, build, finance, and operate.
okay. You don't own these lands.
We don't own the assets.
Actually, they appear like a partner to the developer, right?
Not really. We finance it. I mean, we get. It depends on your financial strength.
Okay.
As a company, if you can pull finances together with sufficient guarantees from the clients. Now there is a DBFO in FedEx forms as well, and it's a bit tedious, but it can be modified.
Okay. We have like very good.
Not because we're going there because we have to generate business for our people.
Yes. And being a publicly listed company, maybe you will find it easier to finance yourself.
We don't finance ourselves. We do financiers and funders.
So you are like what, a mediator between the financer and the client?
Operator.
When you are saying you are not financing, that's why. That's a good opportunity. You are trying to find opportunity for your job. But I think that you little bit, I would not say deviate, you expand from contracting to financing. You are not financing yourself, you are trying to get somebody else to finance it as if you are just. Okay. That's a good way to, overcome the challenge.
It's the challenge is we have to improvise.
Because when you said financing, we thought Electric is now $1 billion company and so can finance it.
They may raise funds from the public. I mean, maybe all are partners.
You are right, but in this case, in this scenario, we are talking about contractor, which is not a common issue. When you are as contractor, you try to finance not from your own. So sometimes you are partnering in a certain role with your client to make some easy payment. But to go and raise public financing or to go borrow from bank or you make, let us say, liaison between the financier or investment company and your client is not something common. If they start it, it's good way. Maybe now contractor will be more heavy and rich to make in financing jobs.
Spend the beam now.
Yes, now.
Well, it's not easy to pull financing nowadays. So
Exactly.
I think it's similar also to working with the UAE or the USA. You as a contractor, you want to secure a certain project, and to do that, the client doesn't have money. Simply. You have to, for you to get this project, you have to find money for it. So it's like, let me do this to reach this. And working with USAID, UAs, other governments, secure funding for that client will bring you the business. More or less, if I may interject, I believe developers who are going ahead with their projects, they have funds. Okay, but they're trying to hide it. They're trying to find ways and means, okay, to improve their financial model. So I'm sure there are some developers here, and we are certain that a lot of developers, they have the money to do this equipment, but they keep it aside for the rainy day.
I think the reason for this is cooling because this payback is a very long period. They can make another investment very shorter. We have to admit, all of us, about this cooling, why the financing is difficult. We know the recession, we know the back, but on the other hand, when you go to any investment company or banks, the payback for any cooling plant is not something in the near future. You are talking 50 years, if not more. So always this model has never been encouraging any investment company or banks really to do it. We know, all of us, as you mentioned, Muhammad, that now you try to find people who finance it, but on the other hand, we have to be fair. Usually the developer is easy to take finance because he has assets in his hand. He has the land, he has something. Now as contractor, when you look for financing, then you don't own. You own your business, but you don't own the assets.
Obviously, being a high capital intensive industry, financing may not be viable for all the people to push it up from the contract again. But if there are regulations which are in favor and then attraction towards better return on investment for the end user, that's another way of possibly pushing up. For the end user, it's not only the attractive efficiency which is giving you a better technology, even attractive tariff plan, which will give tangible benefits for the end user, which is a viable way of pushing up with financing funding options.
In the funding, is there any possibility of making the district cooling pipe separate and putting it as part of the infrastructure? Is there any development in that direction in any of the projects? Instead of thinking that district cooling should do the piping and bury the whole pipe length and just wait.
Actually, yes, because it's a dead asset for 2-3 years. It will be a dead asset until the development is up. And we're talking about the infrastructure itself, the piping, we're talking about 15 to 20% of the total cost. So it's a dead asset, no return on it until the plant is run. We have discussed this with many clients actually, and one of the projects was Dora al Bahrain, and the client had agreed for payment of the piping itself, so we moved it out of, it improves the financial model and reduces the fee structure for the end users. But of course this comes out from the savings the client will achieve from shifting from traditional air conditioning to district cooling, where he saves on the power distribution, transformers, on the building structures and the likes.
Or this infrastructure cost can be recovered as a first cost while selling the property built into the sellable area. So your money is recovered in the first place.
This is a good model, but what I wanted to know is, have you faced a situation where this kind of a model has been accepted by the developers? Anyone?
Yes, I mean even the model Robert is talking about, yes, we have done it for a project in the process, that we add the upfront capital cost onto the sale value of the property. Because if you're talking about a property of that needs 10,000 tons, if you add 30,000 dirhams, okay, out of 5 million, it's peanuts.
Some municipalities actually are thinking of putting their own piping network.
Correct.
Still being studied, and then bring in different district cooling companies to pump into that network.
Yeah, okay.
Makes sense.
Especially with such distributed cooling, I mean, to match the asset to the revenue, the best way forward for retrofitting parts of Dubai, which we can discuss right now. Even when you plan a new project, you have this matrix of development in front of you. You know what's going in there, you're planning all your services, not just district cooling, for that particular population or block requirement. It's quite easy for a municipality or developer to take ownership of that district cooling network.
For me, distributed cooling is the way that I'm still very close to my heart. But it's not the only solution, of course. But it will help the district cooling companies get finance and be attractive in terms of where you can place the piping. The piping would be small enough to place in the verges, not on the road. I mean, the service corridors and to chop at the main roads, you can take up the verge of the pavement, cross over. So it's very attractive on that particular side of the district cooling company.
Yeah, we recover the cost of network, plant, everything from the developer or the end user, but finally the end user is not the owner of the plant, you see. So why don't you make them as a partner or the owner? Everybody is the owner of the plant, and they will not hesitate to pay in the first place.
Masoud, you were involved in Sakia pilot also. We released the RFP where we said we fixed the district cooling rate in line with the market rate. And we called the district cooling company. We said TDIC is paying for the piping network, and what is tender was how much royalty you can pay for the piping. And we were targeting 180 dirham per ton for the piping for TDIC to recover. The prices came slightly more even from the tender, and we had your company with 3 others participating in this. I think this will be a very viable model for the future. And as Tawfiq said, now the piping per ton is costing around an average between 1,000 to 1,500 dirham for large development. The power saved in terms of infrastructure, that 1 kilowatt saved in district cooling, the cost is almost 3,000 dirham. We are saying the cost saved is double that of the piping. So if they are doing the infrastructure anyway, it's much more better for them, and they can get revenue, while the power they cannot get revenue. They can get royalty.
I just want to say one thing on this PDFO. It takes two to tango.
Yeah.
So if the developer is not worthy, the developer is not worthy, the contractor cannot come up with the decision.
The other thing is that despite Mr. George just now said that there are million tons, more than million tons plant, but it's not as big as it used to be a couple of years ago, for example. So we have definitely a lack of availability of projects in the local market. There are other markets in the Gulf where yes, there is availability. What I want from the participants to shed a light on how do we change this challenge of lack of availability of projects and high level of competition into an opportunity for a business, including or a general business.
Keep on educating people that district cooling is the way to go. I mean, there are some developers are walking away from district cooling like this because they've only seen the big buildings with a lots of big fancy cooling towers and nice architectural design, and they're afraid of that. They think that's a huge investment. But with proper education and communication with them, it's a chilled water plant. Tawfiq mentioned this. It's not outside, it's a chilled water plant. So one chiller or two chillers or 10 chillers. Just need to educate the client that it's not a scary investment, it's the proper thing to do, etc., and so on. About local market, just to comment on it, there are projects outside of the UAE more than in the UAE, but there are a lot of projects here happening. But one funny thing that was told to me by one of the major clients in one of the countries is that UAE contractors, this is what they call us now, UAE contractors. You're flooding the market and you come in and you're changing our market, sometimes for the good, because in some of those countries they were in blackout, I guess.
Yeah,
there was no real competition in district cooling. And in one of the projects 2 years ago there were 3 competitions, 3 contractors, one of the big 60,000 ton plants. Today this project was tendered and 10 contractors submitted the quotations. 10. I mean,
from 3 to 10.
And some clients don't like that. You would think that they would be happy to compare prices. No, it's too much. So,
the role of consultants that filter them.
Actually, the life cycle between the tender is issued until the contract is awarded has shifted from 3 months to 18 months.
Yes.
Okay. This is a major problem for us actually. We have submitted bids during 2009 and 2010. District cooling alone, I'm not talking about the other infrastructure, other utilities, in the range of $3.2 billion in the region. Okay? And about $2.8 billion, no decision has been made.
Yes,
And as we keep receiving extension of bonds, validation of prices,
cost,
and the like, and this is cost, I mean, at the end of the day.
Okay, yeah. What you mentioned, Muhammad, I think, about education to keep the people educated. In addition to that, I think government regulation will help this direction. The moment you have the tariff, the moment you have encouragement from the company, even for the district cooling companies, they have land, special price, blah, 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 they're being encouraged to go for their efficiency. If you educate the people that yes, chilled water plant is, or central plant is an efficiency, is more saving, but still if you don't have anything, we know that financing still is difficult, funding is not an easy way, so should be an encouragement as well as I think regulation from the government to push. Now like I know Dubai now, to go for metro and this now will be increased to 8. So we push the people to go for that.
You will go, as the global finance commercial, you have to compare what is the cheapest for you. It's good to know about environment, good to know about saving, but sometimes the rule push you to go in some way. Why is ice storage, thermal storage done? Because you are saving power from day to night. The tariff here will affect education, it will give you an effect. And in addition to that, now, as we mentioned about contracting, the fluctuation of the price for copper, steel is fluctuating a little bit, but of copper is majorly also a gain.
I think mandatory rules has to apply. It's like we see mandatory, it's not just guidelines. Like we see in Dubai, they say it's mandatory to use treated sewage effluent. It's mandatory that each plant has to have a thermal storage tank. Okay, now this is not the case, I think, in Abu Dhabi yet.
Not yet.
Okay, but this is not sufficient. This is if the developer opts to have a central cooling plant or a district cooling plant. But why not make a district cooling plant as mandatory issue?
Yeah,
So
okay.
what I
meant,
because I mean, this is not for us to put it. This is for us to convince the Ministry of Electricity and Water that this is the main benefit.
You can make it mandatory, provided all the benefits are passed on to the end user. You see, here the government may be saving on the production of power, but has it been passed on to the end user? With district cooling, it's not an attractive business in Dubai with 48, 50 fills per ton, when you can get it for 22 in Abu Dhabi. Why? Between two cities, why there is so much of difference, you see? So to make it mandatory, the government has to subsidize the rate, at least for the district cooling people.
That same thing came up in Bahrain, a project I was involved in. We had a huge development in the north of Manama, and it was the main developer himself was very resistant to this. He said, look, unless you can drop the rates of power for the district cooling company, it's not going to be attractive for me to actually try and sell my development, which has district cooling, to one across the road, which is the same size, which doesn't have district cooling.
And today with the slab rate, anything above 35 fills is not attractive in Dubai. Why not you go for a split ducted central AC? You know, it looks like central, but it is DS. But the end user gets benefited by paying less tariff.
Plus the nationals don't pay. I mean, they don't pay for electricity, do they? I mean, not that much.
No, they are paying, but that's 7% instead of...
So it's not attractive for them. Saudi and Bahrain, for example.
Yes.
So it had to be made mandatory to get this thing forward, because as George said, and you were also mentioning the benefit to the government of the nation is something.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia drawing 7 million barrels a day, and a lot of that's going towards power generation, right? So that will help the nation and reduce that risk too. So, how far is the government getting with making it mandatory? I don't know. But they are seeing district cooling companies failing. They are seeing the business models failing. And they're sort of letting them float a little bit. Something has to be done. That's for sure.
This is what I meant really by regulation. Regulation to make it mandatory, or to put some encouragement, or subsidize the rate for district cooling, or you make the land maybe a special rate from the government. Maybe you have to make the fees less. You have to encourage this one from the government by doing so many things. Mandatory rates, subsidizing, doing something. This will encourage the business really, and to convince people to go. As you mentioned, if they don't pay for power, what is the benefit? End user has to feel it.
Yes.
Otherwise, no benefit.
There's a challenge here that we have to also admit that these countries that we live in the Gulf specifically, they're not based on renewable energy resources. They burn fuel, and power costs them money. And even today, let's take Saudi Arabia for example, they're moving to private power, either PPPs or only just power, not water. There was an interview with the chairman of Saudi Electricity Company, and he was hammered by the interviewer actually. Why are you buying power from independent power producers at a higher cost than what it would have costed you alone? Of course, the argument was going in circles. There was no specific answer to that, because we have to buy power from them all the year, and not only in the summer, and we have to guarantee offtake and so on. So the governments here themselves, they are paying money. It's costing them money to generate power. So I don't see them selling power at a lower rate, unless in the coming 10 years, we start generating power from renewable resources, which running cost should not cost them much, but only capital.
Surely the savings on infrastructure by having district cooling. I must point that out. Show the benefit of having it. Plus the fact that you can make a lot of the cooling off peak with some storage. You know, therefore encourage them to give us a better rate in the industry. I think that should be enough encouragement for them on the first cost and in the operation side.
So actually what we are saying here is that educating all the parties concerned, including the end user, the government, and the developers, will go a long way increasing the number of projects which are available in the market. Correct? Is this what?
Yes.
And another even the existing buildings also obviously have been migrating towards the viable option.
Still we are talking here about the new development, never been looked at the existing, still never been adopted. This is what guides us, like the PE said, if you have a mandatory, even you have high rates, and you find there is alternative, you know, people finally, end user, would like to sense and to feel the difference. If there is saving, everybody will run for that and you find. Now, still up to now, we haven't seen single project where existing one, somebody thought about it. Now, we know that inside the town sometimes it's difficult to do that, but still there is certain area where you can explore and you can use the district cooling for the existing building.
Abdul, to focus on this one, out of the 1 million ton of in UAE, we have 100,000 that were converted from old building. Mostly they were done by the UAE Army in the whole Zayed military cities or rough places. But some building on Sheikh Zayed Road had their own chiller converted to district cooling due to noise issues, due to space issues, they want to put swimming pool or something. Some building did. But in a recent green building conference in Italy, one of my guys attended and said, in Europe, there's no new buildings. Most of the buildings, the existing stock, they call it, is from 19th century. Uninsulated, poorly heated, poorly air conditioned. They think unless they tackle the existing stock of building, there will be no substantial reduction in the energy use.
Absolutely.
So Europe now is prime target are the existing buildings. Same here. We noticed that the new insulated building consume 30% less than the old buildings, the non-insulated. Maybe, part of the district cooling conversion, what we call it, is probably insulate the building, reconnect, even we converted ducted split and packages to district cooling.
Just what you are saying about Europe, we know all of us that the new development is 20% of the total. Here, opposite, vice versa. You are talking about 70% versus the existing one. So as you mentioned here, if the existing one now still to be adopted, now that's a certain area, like you mentioned earlier, all of us were aware of that. But if you go to the normal, I think we haven't seen such move from the government to push the people and to encourage them. You know, you can make mandatory, you can make encouragement, you can make something prize or reward for the people who's doing. This is what
What you have now, Emirates Tower and Burj Al Arab will be converted soon. We have Rotana Hotel on Sheikh Zayed Road and Tower 1, number 1 on Sheikh Zayed Road. They were existing converted. So the movement is starting.
Yeah, that's good, because on the other side there is something already planned for centralized and being
On the other side,
converted, or vice versa.
We had some people like in Jumeirah Lake South connected to district cooling. They think to have their own system because of their high price.
This is what I'm saying.
So there is a reverse movement.
He mentioned, Muhammad, before that some people try to really escape from this one, some developer, and they are convinced that this is cheaper or there is no commitment, and the investment, upfront investment, if you go for DX unit or is much less than you make central plant.
So education, now let's come back to the contractors' contribution to different aspects. Right? How can the contractors educate the customers, and how can they contribute? Are there any ideas on that?
Other than free feasibility studies?
Not the study, I think, but the existing plan never shown that what is being planned is being achieved. Very rarely. We have to face it. Okay? You have been made the study, nice value engineering, proper, supported by consultant. Go to now existing one and look to the result. it's not really what it's been designed for. So contractor has to convince now by using new technology, BMS, updated, sophisticated, along with that, to prove that what has been designed has been achieved. So far, we have to face it. We are talking about, this is the thing, everybody talk about 0.9 kilowatt overall, 0.87, somebody is aggressive, actual one does not show that. Okay, few of them, yes, so it has to be improved. As contractor, you have to achieve. Finally, as developer, as investor, you would like to see the result. You are saying this is cooling much better by more efficiency. You are saving energy. You have to prove it. It's not proved so far, so strongly. With all this audience, all of us were agreed that everybody is trying, from the manufacturer, from the contractor, by using the technology, optimizing the BMS, making something with the savings, but still the figure not achieved. As contractor, consultant, we have to work together to prove that what we are claiming during the business study is going to be achieved.
It depends who the end user is. The end user that owns the building, he gives out a carbon rate for that. It's difficult to make it simple, make it understandable for the end user, the person in there. Yeah. It's difficult call sometimes on that. I mean, maybe lead into the metering section that George is going to handle. Talk about that.
Yes.
But metering, to make it simple for the end user to understand what he's getting. Right now he's getting consumption charge and demand charge. You know, I haven't got a house with district cooling yet, but you know, in my mindset, I'd rather have it every month. Just coming through. Simple.
And these are never figured up to now from the district cooling. There is difference from normal, let us say, bill. He receives something now and cost him for a bill, let us say 5,000 per month, 4,000, 2,000. He doesn't feel there is an efficiency saving. Who is getting now the saving? All of us who are talking about district cooling, finally it comes the bill for the end user who is directly the resident, he doesn't feel it. Sometimes he's paying more and they are claiming. And we know now there's some cases where Nakheel, they have admitted to reduce some of them because they found that the charges being beyond what they expect or something. And that's fair. Up to now, as developer, as investor, never feel actual tangible things to say that I have saved money. Billing now, calculation, automation, everything does not reflect. As you said, as end user, nothing simple came to you to show you that you saved money because you have demand charge, you have this, still. Developer, he didn't feel it. So far, nobody from now, if you go to all the audience and make anything to tell him, what about district cooling? All of us, we are talking about saving, energy, environment, health, everything. But if you go to tangible things, nobody will tell you, yes, I was paying 2,000, now I'm paying 1,500 or 1,000. There is no single, medical and the healthcare of the city, everybody tries to escape from this. Can I have my own? Everybody asking this question.
This is what I was saying. I mean, prize winner, okay, in the past was the developer, okay, who did not pass the saving into the end user, okay. So he made the money and sat on it, while the end user is suffering from payment. Yes. Now, if you see a single bedroom apartment, one bedroom apartment in downtown Burj Dubai that pays 28,000 dirhams a year for AC, that's a lot of money. Okay, it's 50% of the rent or 30% of the rent. That's a lot of money. So really, the developer has sat on the savings and they did not pass the buck to the end user.
This is I hope there is no developer in this audience.
No, it's fair.
Well, we are very open about this actually.
No, and we have to educate them. This is the purpose of this one. Let the end user feel it.
Masoud, let's not mix the issue of Dubai because the wrong structure of slab rate also has hurted the end user big time and hurted district cooling. But coming to your original question, Masoud, I think to reach to the decision makers, the best thing is to get the Arabic media. So far in 15 years here, I saw that the Arabic media, the mainstream Arabic media, did not cover district cooling a lot, and we failed to reach it where we can put our view. I mean, like Surrender publishes Slab in the Face, it managed to reach the decision maker, and now they are studying to restructure the rate in Dubai. I'm working on them on the regulation, and that's part of it. That's how media managed to change or will change soon, I mean, the regulation.
So maybe we can ask the contract.
And not only here, Masoud, but also I found when we try to reach the media, we could not get it as individuals. But for example, if he has what they call public relation companies,
Yes.
they have very strong access. I mean, they can publish anything you want the second day. I mean, they have these are the companies. Maybe the district cooling industry need to bring them in and get their help, whether even to lobby them, to pay them for this PR. This is my suggestion.
So one thing to say about education, it's a lengthy process. 3 years ago, one of the leading district cooling providers opened a branch in one of the countries here. And since then, they've been heavily marketing the concept of district cooling every day meetings, and they gathered us contractors and consultants in group meetings with key clients, just telling them about district cooling. 3 years after that, started ripening.
They got the first fruit.
Exactly. They started getting business, and the culture now understands district cooling.
Yeah, definitely district cooling is a paradigm shift in cooling in this country and in this region as well. So we need a lot of contribution from all parties concerned about how to improve the PR of the district cooling business. That's okay. Now I think related to this is another issue which we have already touched on, is the value engineering portion. And I just want to open this discussion to value engineering and value addition. How do we compare between these two things, and what we can do for this? Like value engineering is something and value addition is another thing. Let us just compare this, how the contractors can contribute to this.
I can speak to the contractors, but
Okay.